Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Jess. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Mark and thank everybody for being here.
I'll make my remarks really brief this afternoon. First of all, thanks for taking time out of your Wednesday, your hot Wednesday, for joining us. But we've got hot updates to bring to you today. We've been doing these now for a few months to try to connect what's going on at Chrysalis to those of you out there that are interested in our work. And today we are going to be talking about one of the essential services that we provide to the community, especially during this pandemic, which is our personal property storage operations. We've got a great panel of folks to share their work with you directly, so I am going to get out of the way and turn it over to them. Just before I do that, I just want to give you a couple of high-level numbers because we've made this a bit of a tradition the last few weeks or few months to let you know how we're doing in terms of engagement with the clients that we serve. Since we moved to a virtual mode back in March, I am really, really proud to say that we have had meaningful two-way conversations with over 3,600 of our clients across our 5 offices. And while that is great and it's huge, what I'm really proud of is my team has figured out a way to bring over 900 new clients into the Chrysalis family over that period. Normally we'd be doing that work in person, but we found a way to do assessments, new client orientations, classes, all of that virtually. And nearly, 551 people have secured employment over this period. That's about half of what we would have done over this period. But considering where we are in this pandemic, we are incredibly proud of that. The personal property program that we're going to talk about today actually started way back in 2002. It came about because of a settlement of some litigation between the ACLU and the Central City East Business Improvement District, which is in the Skid Row area. And the need was identified to have a place where our unhoused neighbors could safely store their personal belongings, particularly during the day if they're looking for work, if they're going to classes, if they're attending to other needs that they have. There wasn't anything like this in the country, in fact. So this idea started way back then. We were soon hired to actually run it, to do the management of it. And then in 2014, we took it over completely under a contract with the City of LA and have expanded it greatly since then. And in large part because of the men and women that you're about to meet. I'd like to introduce you to Jessica Fuentes, who is the program manager for all of this stuff. And I'm going to turn it over to Jessica to tell you a little bit more about what this thing is all about.
There I am. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As Mark mentioned, my name is Jessica Fuentes, and I am the Senior Operations Manager. I'm one of 4 Senior Operations Manager here at Chrysalis. And one of the projects that I work with is the bin. And so I'm here to tell you a little bit more with my team about some of the wonderful work that we've been doing. If you don't know about the bin, what we call this, the famous word, it's a free personal property storage for the residents of Los Angeles. Chrysalis is very proud to manage these free storage facilities where patrons can store and access their personal property. We really believe that personal property can hold an immeasurable amount of value for people. And so we really hope to provide a sense of stability and mobility to the patrons who are using this service. Just to give you a couple of fun numbers, at the bin, we currently have between all our 4 bins, we have 2,674 safe storage bins. Between the 4 locations, there's 1,550 at town, there's 1,000 at the bin San Pedro, there is 80 at Echo Park, and 84 at El Pueblo location. And just to give you a little bit of an idea of how much these bins are utilized, since the beginning of the year till June, the locations have all tagged in the bins being accessed about 56,000 times. So today we're going to be joined by some of our team members here. So you're going to meet John, George, Mark, and Marshall. So I'm going to bring them on so they can introduce themselves really quickly. I'm going to move over to George. George, can you come on and introduce yourself?
Hey, you guys doing good? George Ramirez over here at the bin San Pedro.
Hi, thank you, George. Thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and introduce you, Mark Trailer.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
We can. Can you come on and introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Mark Trailer. I'm the supervisor here at the Echo Park Bend.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Mark. And now
Thank
we're
you.
going to go over to Marshall. Marshall, can you come on?
Hi, my name is Marshall, and I am a supervisor at Pueblo.
Thank you, Marshall. Supervisor at the bid. We're going to go back to John and see if we can check in now.
My name is John Johnson. I'm the supervisor at the Bend Town.
Hi, John. Thank you. So
You're not hearing me.
She can.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay.
We just
I can hear you. So we just went through a quick little run through of the panelists that we're going to be having today. And so I'm just going to stay with you, John. And we're going to, I know that you usually work at Bend Town and you made the trek over to the downtown office as we couldn't get you some connection from the Bend Town. And I know you brought us some pictures. How was the day going over there at Bend Town when you left?
The day's been going great. All the clients are coming in, they're accessing their bins. We are, the flow of traffic that's coming in right now is a little slow because of the coronavirus, but everything is running swell.
Great. And so when people come to the bin, could you tell us more about how they access their bins?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. So I asked, can you tell us a little bit more about how patrons come and they access their bins?
Well, all our patrons are issued a bin access card. The bin access card has their name and a login number. The login number, when they come in the gate, they're logged into a computer at the reception desk, which goes to another computer that's back in the warehouse. One of the staff brings out the bins and they place it into a slot for the patrons to access their bins.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we're looking at some of the pictures of the warehouse area, and then you guys got to see the first little check-in window before. And so this is some of where the areas where our storage facility comes, and that's where you guys are pulling the bins from, right?
Yeah, that's our warehouse where we pull the bins from. We bring them out. We have an access area in the front to where we have them in increments of 5 that we're letting them in because of the coronavirus.
Oh, okay.
I know what it is.
Thank you so much for all that information, John. So we're going to go ahead and now go a few blocks away. We're going to visit the Bin San Pedro. This is actually one of our newest locations that just opened up at the beginning of this year. So we're going to go ahead and visit George, and we're going to talk a little bit about utilization. George, can you join us and tell us about how many patrons you're seeing each day?
How you guys doing? Good afternoon. It's George at the Ben San Pedro. Prior to the pandemic, we would get about 100, 120 patrons a day. Now we're seeing about 40, 50. Today was a really slow day. So we got about 30 in today, but our numbers have definitely decreased since the pandemic has started.
Oh, okay. Do you think there's anything significant that's happening and why we're seeing such a decrease in some of these numbers?
A lot of our patrons, the ones that are in transitional housing and living in shelters, a lot of them are on quarantine, and a lot of them have been shipped out to hotels all over the place. I'm getting calls from all over the place. Our patrons getting shipped out of other places.
Okay, great. I also know that kind of to accommodate some of the things happening with this pandemic, we did make a couple of changes to some of our policies. So for example, typically we would ask patrons to check in every 7 days to make sure that they are still an active participant in the bin. But now we have made a couple of changes to that. Can you tell me more about that?
As of right now, sorry. Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
I can hear you.
As of right now, due to the pandemic, we're asking our patrons not to come in and renew their bins. So usually they have a 7-day period where they have to check in to renew their bin for the following week. So right now we're asking not to come in at all. If they don't need to come in here at all, pretty much stay away.
That's great. I'm sure that also helps a lot with the social distancing procedures that we all are trying to follow, right? Thank you so much, George. So now I'm actually going to jump over, a lot of jumping over today. We're going to go visit Mr. Mark Trailer, who is over at the Bin Echo Park. Mark, you are also a pretty new location. Could you give us maybe a small mini tour of this location?
Yes, I will be glad to. My name is Mark Trailer. I'm the supervisor here at the Echo Park Bin. Let me give you guys a quick tour. Let me flip the camera around. This is what the inside of one of our bins look like. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can, thank you.
Okay, this is what one of the inside of the bins look like. We have 3 containers this way. This is our computer set up to let you guys know that when the clients come in, we check them in via paperless check-in.
Perfect.
And also for the, sorry about that, for the clients to come in, we have everything they can read up on the coronavirus. Our bin is, excuse me, our bin is a little bit smaller than the rest of them, but our clients are very grateful. They come over from the park over at Echo Park. They're very grateful. And on Wednesdays and Fridays, we deal with LA Care. They do showers here. So we go out and advocate for the guys to come and put their property into our bin facility.
Wow, great. Thank you for sharing that, Mark. So I know
You're welcome.
we have LA Care and we have a couple other organizations that offer some other services there. So we have a small little cluster of services that people can benefit from.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Mark.
You're welcome. No problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then we're also going to visit at a similar location, which is El Pueblo. We're going to go visit Marshall May, who is going to talk to us about some of the increased cleaning routines that have been put in place due to the pandemic. Marshall, I'm going to throw
Okay,
it
hi.
over to you.
So my name is Marshall. I am a supervisor at the Bin at El Pueblo, and we have a remote location. Our bin facilitates 85 people that are experiencing homelessness within this particular community, with the Pueblo area of Los Angeles. And we have a bin. I'm gonna try not to move around a lot, but I'm gonna pan the camera so that you can see. This is one of our trailers, and as you can see the trailer there, we have our information for our patrons to see here on the trailer: the note of the speed, the symptoms for the coronavirus, and some of the things that are important for to be aware of. We also provide masks for our clients in the event that they do not have masks, the white mask that you saw me on. And we make sure that our area, because we are outside, we have an assortment, minus the Starbucks coffee cup right here. We have an assortment of PPEs that we use on a regular basis to keep everyone safe regarding this pandemic, because that's just the information that's been given to us, and one of the things that we pass down to the clients and the patrons that come who we serve.
Great, thank you. It looks like everybody over there is doing their part to keep themselves and each other safe, right?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we were given was we were given the 6 feet. So in terms of the people that we have working here, everyone is 6 feet marked on the ground to keep the patrons 6 feet from each other. And when they exit their bin, make sure that they have 6 feet in terms of 6 feet in terms of where the bin access area, which is what I'm panning the camera right there. We've put tape on the ground at 6 feet intervals to make sure that not only do we not touch the bin access cards, but that the patrons, as they're waiting to get access to their bins, are staying 6 feet.
Great, thank you. I'm so happy to see that. So I'm gonna go ahead and circle back with all of you guys. And if you guys could just tell me, why do you think, or what have you found that makes this service so important? So I'm gonna go ahead and go back to you, John.
Okay.
Why do you think this service is so important?
I think the service that we provide is very important considering that a lot of our patrons, they have a lot of personal property, pictures, birth certificates, stuff that is not easily replaced. The service that we provide for them gives them a sense of someplace to where they can keep their property and don't have to worry about it. It'll be there when they're ready and they need it for their housing or whatever.
Thank you. Pictures and a lot of those small keepsakes that you keep for emotional attachment. Those are a lot of the things that we don't think about. So thank you for bringing those up. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to George. George, if you can join me. And why do you think this service is so important?
Me personally, having experienced homelessness myself, I know that it's a big part. My whole thing is when I see the success stories here, I love it when the person comes in and talk about, I got my place, I'm closing out my bin, I got my apartment. That's the best feelings for me. That's the best feeling for me. Seeing them transition, having them get out of here, have them, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very happy to hear that we are a little part in helping them get to that journey, through that journey. Thank you, George, for sharing that. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to you, Mark Trailer. Can you tell me why do you think this service is so important?
Okay, can you guys see me?
We can.
Okay, I think that the reason the service is so important because a lot of people have a sense of when the police are the people come and clean the parks or clean the streets and their property is getting taken. So I think they're more safe. They feel safe now that they have the bins that they can put all their personal property in. Like I'm piggybacking off of like what John just said, the birth certificates, the paperwork to get your housing, your medical records, etc. People really need that, and they look at our services as a godsend. That, hey, look, I can put my stuff here, don't have to worry about it getting lost or stolen, and I can access it 5 days or 6 days a week with no problem. But the only thing we have right now is because of the pandemic. So I think it's a godsend for us also to provide the services for them, to let them know that we are here for them. And a lot of our clients that come here also, they ask us, where can we get a job at? And I always tell them to go to changeslife.org so they can, get more money in their pocket to help to get their places, furniture and stuff when they get transitioned out of our bin into their house.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like you said, it's very important to not also keep those emotional memories, but some of those hard copy papers that are really hard to kind of come by also. Lastly, I'm going to jump over to you, Marshall. Can you go ahead and join us and tell me why you think this service is so important?
I can tell you from my own personal experience of being in transition from going from homelessness to having a home where I could store things like driver's license, social security card, family pictures, certificates of accomplishment. When I was actually a client or a patient of them. And for me, it gave me a sense of security in regards to knowing that those things that were so vitally important were to be safe. And as Mr. Trailer said, one of the best experiences I have is being able to provide storage for a person that is experiencing homelessness. And then they come back and say, you know what, I'm checking out of my bin because I got a place, and how fundamental, how essential it was to be able to have an opportunity to store their stuff. And that interaction is just priceless. So it's incredibly important that these storage facilities are here. And I am so happy to be a part of an organization that does provide that type of security for people, particularly in these tumultuous times that we are experiencing today.
Thank you, Marshall. You do bring us some great points, and I'm very happy to hear that. Some of our best parts are kind of when that people transition out and they're kind of ready to go on and be their little butterfly selves, right?
It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, well, thank you all of you for joining me and kind of sharing all these wonderful things.
Miss Jessica, excuse
Yes.
me. I have one more, and because everybody forgot, We also let the clients know that the services are free and we're here for the duration.
Yes, thank you for that. And yeah, these services are free, provided to all the patrons. So thank you again to all of us that you have joined us. And just so you know, we are going to stick back around so that we can answer any questions that you guys have thrown in the chat. But right now I'm going to throw it back to Mark and Tiffany, who are going to come back screen and kind of walk us through the rest of the program. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Jessica, and to our supervisors, thank you so much for your time and all our attendees. We only have a couple minutes left, 1 minute, so we're going to dive right in and actually just kind of go with the theme of putting Jessica on the spot. We had a few questions that we want to field your way that we think you can probably answer pretty quickly. So one of our attendees asked if you could restate the number of bins that are available per location. You noted those at the beginning.
Okay, so in total, we have 2,674 bins. The bin town has 1,550. The bin San Pedro has 1,000. The bin Echo Park has 80, and El Pueblo has 84.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jessica. A follow-up question to that is, why would patrons pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, why are they asked to renew their bins on a weekly basis?
It's kind of the same system that you would call like a library card, or like rechecking out your book just to make sure that you're still actively reading and still actively using that book. We kind of take the same concept into using the bin. So when people come and check in on a weekly basis, it just lets us know that they're still actively engaged with the property that they have in there, and they still want to let us know that they would like to keep participating in the program.
Thank you. And Mark,
Tiffany, if I could just tag in on that, the other reason is that these facilities are almost always at capacity. And so unfortunately, we do need to limit capacity, and checking in is one way to demonstrate that you still need this valuable service. But I will give the city a lot of credit. The new San Pedro bin that Jessica was referring to and that George was representing and that I had the pleasure of visiting last Friday, and it was sweltering hot. That specifically came about because the mayor's office recognizes Skid Row needed more of this, and they helped us open that facility. So we'd love to see these throughout the city. Bill, thank you for your question about can we do more of these, whether they're mobile. There's some logistical issues there, but every part of our community needs something like this, and we're proud to be able to do it.
Wonderful. Well, we are a little bit over time. I know we had another question about services and if they were free, which Mark Traylor addressed, but Jessica and the team, what is the best way that we get outreach to the community and let folks know that this service is available to them? How are they finding out about it?
There's a lot of word of mouth, and we also do some flyers. And when we partner with other organizations, we do let them know about the service that's available. But most of it, I can tell you, is done word of mouth.
Thank you. And so any questions we didn't get to, we will be sure to follow up, but as we are Chrysalis, we like to ideally normally start on time and end on time. So I'm going to pass it back to Mark.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thanks for reconfiguring and making it all work. But in particular, thanks to George and John and Marshall and Mark and Jessica for your leadership on this project. It is really, really an essential service. And I know from firsthand experience when I visited these facilities, what a positive attitude our team has there. And we call our customers, if you will, patrons, because in fact, that's what they are. We're providing a service that they need, and they are treated with all the dignity and respect that you would want if it was your property. So thank you to our audience for joining us today and for all of your support in helping make this work possible. And we hope to see you again in September at our next community broadcast. Thanks, everybody. Happy August.